Hey, so here's a Friday fraud law review for you. I was just looking at this today. It looks like it came out the other day on the 13th of September. So let's go to it. This is Philadelphia woman. As you know, I'm about an hour and a half from Philadelphia, or you may not know that. Yeah, I'm in PA. She has been charged with stealing Social Security disability benefits from a homicide victim. And guess what? The victim was found buried under a row home basement. So let's see what's going on here. She's been alleged indicted, okay, and the deceased woman's remains were found buried beneath about up to 8 feet of concrete. Sounds kind of mafia, right? In the basement of a Philly home in which she had resided. So the murdered person lived in this home, gets murdered, is buried in concrete underneath the home. I think the initials of the deceased, for whatever reason, they're only giving initials, is EW. Come on, dog, get out from under my feet. Sorry, they do that. They all like sit on my feet. She was last seen alive in 2012 in December. And during her lifetime, oh, this is crazy. She had been receiving disability insurance benefits from the SSA due to an intellectual disorder. Okay, so she's cognitively vulnerable during her lifetime and unable to work full time as a result. This is, you know, this is skanky and evil, and some really bad people did some bad things to this poor woman, right? This is really bad. Okay, so the indictment further alleges that a DNA analysis of the human remains recovered from the concrete basement concluded that the remains were those of this woman, EW, the medical examiner's office down in Philly, and an anthropologist who was a forensic anthropologist examined EW's remains and concluded that the cause of death was blunt trauma to the head and neck, and the manner of death was homicide. So she was beaten, is my take. How about you? The anthropologist also estimated that the EW had died at least 4 years and up to 10 years prior to the recovery of her remains. So we know she was last seen in 2012, and it looks like they don't say exactly when he made that report, I don't think. But I will say, and I'm not going to announce the suspect who's been charged, only because, as I repeat every time, innocent until proven guilty. And if she did it, I hope they do a thorough investigation and nail her. If she didn't, I hope our due process, which is very important, will determine that it has not been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, and she is not therefore found guilty. Okay. But the suspected perp who has been arrested is 37-year-old, another woman who is 37 years old. Okay, so she's not even that old. The suspect, the arrested, the defendant. Let's see what else they have to say. The 37-year-old, again, whose name I won't reveal because she's been arrested and not found guilty yet, but if they do a report later and I get my eyeballs on it, I will shout the name from the rafters if she's convicted. Otherwise, I'm not doing that. She was indicted for accessing the deceased woman's bank account and stealing her Social Security benefits for her own personal use. So it's not a murder case, even though the lady was murdered. This 37-year-old is charged with these other things, at least as far as I can see here. I'm tempted to go and research this in my my newspaper resources to see what's going on with the, now that they know someone was murdered 4 to 10 years ago, what they're doing to find out who did it. Okay, and a cognitively vulnerable person too. I mean, retardation, whatever it is, it was enough to land her, you know, Social Security disability. Apparently, in furtherance of the scheme to defraud, the defendant is charged with utilizing the deceased's name, date of birth, and Social Security number to continue to access her bank account containing the SS benefit funds. So she's charged with fraudulently obtaining and converting to her own use approximately 100,000, a little less than 100,000, 99 and change thousand in SSA benefits that were intended for EW. They do say that if convicted, this defendant will face a maximum possible sentence of 107 years imprisonment, 3 years of supervised release, and a $1.75 million fine. So we're breathing down $2 million fine and a $700 special assessment. Now I'm curious about that. We see all these cases where there is an homicide aside, because that is not what this lady is charged with, this defendant. It's just the fraud, 100,000. We've seen far more $100,000, way more than $100,000 stolen from the SSD from people based on dead people. So why is, and we never see 107 years possible imprisonment. So what is it that makes this different from that? I wonder if she's also being investigated for the murder, separately, of course, because they don't have to wait for that to go ahead and nail her with this, you know. You almost feel like they have to have some sort of suspicion, because why are they, well, they're talking about the maximum possible. It's already legislated, you know, within the guidelines or whatever. So why, what part of these charges brings it up to 107 years versus others? You know, is it because they don't choose to? Like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, they do say that she was indicted on charges of Social Security fraud, wire fraud, and aggravated identity theft for concealing the death of a woman. That's been in existence too. So I just wonder where's the difference? And the only one I could think of would be the subjective one, that they believe she maybe was, you know, part of the murder. And so they are going and indicting on more and all they can. And that maybe they don't do that for the other ones, which I kind of don't appreciate. Not that I don't appreciate them doing it with her here. I think they should. I think they should do all the charges for everyone that does this. You know, whether you're a murderer or not, because the murder charges will come differently. And then she'll get, you know, strung out on that if she was involved. But that almost suggests to me that they go light on charges they could do, that the people and the legislators they voted in for put down as criminal, and they don't choose to do them even though the evidence is there. And that's what I have a problem with. That's that weak on crime business that I'm not really in favor of. So anyway, I thought this one was really kind of fascinating. Obviously terribly tragic. You know, this would be abuse of the disabled at the very least, because you murdered her, then you put her body in concrete 6 to 8 feet under. It's really sick what people will do for money and power. What do you think? Ciao, guys.